Really
Skip that,
surprised.
skip the generations, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it does sometimes. So that's cool. I hope you, if you ever want a practice partner for Spanish, I got you.
Sí,
No,
muy
we can
bien.
always work on
Gracias,
that.
gracias.
I mean, that's right. So, as we get ready to dive into your vision and where your vision of tea came from, and being able to launch a tea franchise, along the lines of Starbucks, what are three resources, three books that you'd recommend to the audience if they've got a vision they want to fulfill?
Well, let's see. I've been exposed to so much stuff lately, and I did go. It was just kind of on a whim. I've been doing so many cool networking events, and so I went to I was actually Realtors of San Antonio. So I think mostly women realtors of San Antonio, and they had a guest speaker, and he had a book called "The Liberty of Our Language Revealed," and it's Thomas Blackburn. I'm no wait. Thomas, Thomas, we'll call him Thomas.
Yeah, we can update in the show notes. That's okay.
Yeah. I'll find it. Thomas, he wrote a book called Thomas Blackwell. That's what it is, Blackwell. And so it's all about speaking positivity into existence and how the impact of our words on everything around us and inside of us. So I've always been a little bit of a little bit cheeky. And so I won't say that everything that comes out of my mouth is positive, but his talk really made me think about that, especially as you try to manifest something like a business and a business that's there to serve. I got a lot out of that. So power of our language and what we say, what we think, and all that stuff tied together. Another resource, I'm doing a training right now called RFA, which is a couple of gentlemen, young guys from Florida who've put together a pretty intensive in and out kind of training for marketing. So I think a lot of people in my shoes, small business owners, are going to be struggling to pay for the marketing. And what I found is when I paid someone else to do it, I thought, this is going to be great. They're professionals. They'll put it together. But
I'm gonna burst everybody's bubble right now. 99% of marketers have no idea what they're doing, but go ahead.
Well, and what I found, I'm not going to say they didn't know what they're doing, but they were super sweet, super wonderful, but they just didn't, it wasn't me, it wasn't they weren't in my head. They weren't putting out the way I would do it or the way I would say it or the emphasis I wanted to put on it. So I really feel like in my case, especially, it's not just a matter of not having, a huge amount of money to put toward marketing, but really it's just about I want my version to come out, my vision, my spin. So
I love
that's
that.
only two, but I think that's enough.
Well, that's good and that's pointed. And to respect the reality too. I'm not calling out people for being bad, but marketers, we have a 99% loss rate as businesses over 10 years. 96% literally lose and fail. 4% hang on. And so there's a lot of things that are broken there. Right. So it's important as business owners that we read books like The E-Myth, where, somebody like Michael Gerber,
Right.
who has multiple victories in business, breaks down greater formulas and capacities to understand how do we find the ones who are legitimate. And I'm very curious about the resource. I didn't catch it. How do you spell it? What's the name of the resource?
So it's RFA. So they named their company Rich from Anywhere. And it's they have a couple of really cool things. I mean, they've actually developed an actual software called Communicate.
Okay.
And it'll do everything for you. It puts all your funneling, all of your emails, all of your marketing tools in one place. They provide a lot of templates. They've really put a lot of work into it. And I was pretty impressed. And they reeled me right in.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely be taking a look at it. We'll drop their link in the resources as well. The world of abundance, right? The law of abundance says when we find opportunities for expansion, the neat thing about expansion is you're not giving away the cake that you have. You're more like cultivating a farm where you have more land to continue to grow what you're doing.
Adding layers to your cake, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well said on the cake analogy. So we will cut to a break real quick. We'll be right back and we'll dive in about tea, Starbucks, coffee, la ti da, all things wonderful with your vision, Leah, and I look forward to it. All right, welcome in to Vision Pros Live with Jackson Callum. I'm your show host. We will be doing interviews for visionary entrepreneurs and guest leaders who are building fantastic visions out there. Hey, what's up, Vision Pros? Welcome into another episode of Vision Pros Live. I'm your show host, Jackson Callum, founder and CEO of First Class Business. And I'm excited to have a local native from the San Antonio area, Kerrville, and she's here with me. And I'm from San Antonio too, for those who don't know this. So this is exciting because I'm usually interviewing people from all over the nation. And she's got a tea shop called La Ti Da with super high quality teas. And I know personally how incredibly hard it is to run small local businesses, starting from being born to a single mother of 6, who ran a gas station outside of San Antonio before there was anything outside of the 1604 loop. I know the sacrifices and effort that she put into that. We also had a little restaurant in it she called Salt and Pepper that was very quaint. And my grandpa owned a couple of gas stations as well. There was all sorts of learning opportunities growing up, watching the different developments of businesses, understanding, how important small businesses are, not only to America and to our economy, but to my personal life. I grew up around a lot of them. So I'm really happy that Leah's got her shop. We look forward to seeing her shop continue to grow. And we're going to talk about her desires for expansion efforts to bring forward what Starbucks has done for cappuccinos, frappuccinos, all these different drinks, because a lot of us don't know a whole lot about the world of tea. And so we're going to explore that today. Before I bring Leah on stage, I also want to give a shout out to a few of our sponsors. The 2 sponsors that are listed right now are actually clients of ours. And I only work with people who inspire me and will inspire my 4 children as well. I got 4 children. I want to see them know that I was a good example in life, that I worked with people who made things that matter. Let's talk about Sean Lechuga and the Wellness Shop 365. Sean's actually become an amazing friend of mine. He actually started also helping us with our pre-show processes of talking to people for this show, because we saw opportunities to integrate our visions even further. What really caught my attention about him as a holistic wellness professional was that they were asking questions as deep as, what's your joy look like in life? What about spirituality in your career, and not just your health, but your relationships, and where you volunteering? And Sean and Julianne have created this 365 wheel of life to run an assessment on that. And of course, they also help with the traditional aspects of health too, such as what's your diet and exercise look like? What supplements are you taking? And I've just found them an absolute joy to get to know and work with and talk to. And we look forward to seeing their vision continue to expand. Melissa Gray of the Law Spot is also one of those sponsors, and having, again, helped so many different businesses out there that, if I were to ask, I've worked with a few thousand businesses, and if I were to ask them, who is your legal counsel? 90% of them probably do not have somebody on hand. The ones that do likely just chose somebody, and they probably pay retainers that are far higher than they need to. And they're probably fairly disconnected from that general counsel. Melissa came onto the show, and I was a bit nervous about that because I'm a very big nurturer. I don't like people who are conflict oriented, and most attorneys I meet, they kind of get in your face pretty quick. She's a nurturer. She's also got the ability to be the professional attorney, and she makes legal simple for people. She's based out of the Dallas area in Texas as well. And again, I found her to be an absolute joy to work with. And she's building this program called the Law Spot that bridges the gap between the free resources out there like LegalZoom and Crocodoc, and again, those New York style retainers where you're getting charged by the minute, and it's adding up fast, and you're not necessarily getting that type of representation that makes you feel comfortable as stewards of our lives, as stewards of our ventures and our visions. The more wise we become with how we do business, the more we learn about what we need to know about what we don't know, the more likely we're going to have success. So I hope that helps at least one of you. Feel free to contact them or check their episodes out. Then we have the water project. I'm running out of water right now, but this is exactly why I bring this up. There's millions of people who would have to walk miles to go get water in this world. I get to walk to my kitchen. I think most of you listening in do as well. We don't have to go far for our basic resources. And so we have an opportunity to raise awareness. We have an opportunity to give back. What I love about the water project is they let you select the community that you're actually going to help, and you get to see how many people are affected by it. You get to see what project they're going to complete, and you actually get to see that project come to fruition as they email you with updates about what's going on, how the process works. I love their transparency and how they go about this. And these kids that I see on the screen right after this list of projects showcases that these kids celebrate water like it's Christmas Day. And while that simultaneously breaks my heart, it reminds me of the power and value and importance of bringing resources to people in the world. We got 8 billion people in this world to help. So if you have a cause that's near and dear to your heart that you'd like us to contribute to, please drop that as a comment in the links. We'll be happy to take a look at it. We might even feature it on the show as well. So without further ado, we're going to explore La Tida, bringing Leah Flores on stage. And Leah, welcome to Vision Pros Live.
Hello. Thrilled to be here.
Happy to have you. We're going to dive right into this vision of tea, and your life. Really, this is going to be very well rounded. This is your show. So, what is your vision for those that you serve?
Well, I am just thrilled to be here in San Antonio. I discovered this little tea shop in Kerrville that was phenomenal. And that's where I finished up my teaching career. And I fell in love with their tea. I've always been a tea drinker. But, you find that one restaurant, Bill Miller, has great tea. Yay. It's always fresh, always good. But This was next level. I mean, these people.
That's big.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who doesn't rave about Bill Miller's. So that you honored it. And at the same time,
they have done their part. But I tell you what, I think I was telling you that back in the 80s, when I finished college, we went on a little Europe trip with the little group, the little group that you meet in school. And as an English major, of course, we were all just thrilled to be anywhere near Shakespeare and all that. But we were in Europe, and we're passing these amazing, 300-400-year-old cafes with these gorgeous patios, and everyone's drinking this amazing foamy, creamy stuff. And we're like, what is that? What is that? And anybody out there who's like me, over 50, that we did not have cappuccinos, lattes, and espressos in the old days. We had a cup of Joe, and that was it. And if you got real cream, it was a banner day. So we were over there just floored by the gorgeous fresh ground. I mean, they were making it, you could smell it coming out of it was like, it was a Mecca. So, shortly after that, when I got back from Europe and I started hearing about this new company called Starbucks, and they're bringing in all these cappuccinos and lattes, and it's like, venti. Back then it was really, funny. People were laughing about the different funny sizes and the funny names.
Yeah.
But now look at us today, 2024. If anybody goes a day without Starbucks, it's unusual, right? So it's exactly the same.
I go for the cake pops. I'm all about my cake pops.
Ooh, okay. That's good. Well, you know what you like. So it's exactly the same story with tea. Just like with coffee, over the centuries, the rest of the world, has known all about teas and the value of tea and the health benefits of tea, and the amazing variety and just soul soothing qualities of tea. Like, I am just into it. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of fun. And I thought to myself, am I going to get tired of saying this ever? Because when people come in the store, I immediately stick their nose into a can of tea and say, smell this. And we have 0 artificial flavors in our tea. It's 100% natural. Most of it's certified organic. There's a few glitches there where you can't get the certification, but 90% of our teas are certified organic, but absolutely all natural. So you're not going to have any artificial flavors, and you're going to see giant pieces of coconut, little tiny pieces of peach, little pieces of strawberries, dried orange. I mean, everything's in there, sourced from the fruit, and it's amazing. So
that's awesome.
That is I'm just so excited about the possibility of everybody learning about this and enjoying it, kind of just like we all did with coffee, except with coffee, there's a downside to coffee. It's pretty
Yeah.
harsh on your stomach. It's pretty it can be very unhelpful as far as anxiety and stress relief. You know,
Hmm.
certain kind of stress relief that comes with having your nice cup of coffee. But then there's that intense caffeine that I know personally I can feel it in my heart. You know, it's a little
Yeah.
bit much for me. So and then plus if you have stomach issues. Then you can be really, you know, having some trouble when you're drinking too much coffee. So
Yeah.
some people have told me, you know, hey, I'm trying to get off coffee. I'm trying to cut back on coffee. So Atida is here for that mission as well, because we have so
That's
many
awesome.
beautiful options. Almond biscotti. I'm just saying, it's my favorite.
That's cool. And I love your passion. I mean, that's what resonates about the vision. It's like, okay, like I can see, feel, smell, taste, touch the vision just by listening to you describe it.
Right.
And that shows the artistry in your passion and what you're up to. So what about for you? Looking at your vision from a more personal standpoint, what do you see for, and I'm gonna interject with one business style thing here. When we talked about naming this program, and I named it To Do for Tea, what Starbucks did for coffee. Does that mean that you want to have these franchises all over the world in every corner, or does that mean that is it about the experience and about bringing the reality to, even if it's just to local San Antonio? How big is this vision? How big do you want to see it go?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, I was a teacher. So my vision, my whole life's work has always just been about the people right in front of me. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like your students
Serving
are
the one.
right in front of you and they're there every day and you got to entertain them and you got to engage them and you got to keep them learning and keep them loving learning. So that's kind of like I'm just steeped in that, you know? So I'm doing the same thing
Nice.
now. People come in and I am just loving learning, loving teaching them, and it's just it's super rewarding for me to just be out and telling people about it. And the more people I can get in, the better. Right now, that's my biggest problem is I don't have a little classroom full of people. You know, I have you know I try you know every kind of tactic I can to get more people in the door, spread the word, that sort of thing. But my vision, I mean, I could see this because it's such an amazing product. I mean, and if you start looking online, like there's tea websites. There's plenty of places
Yeah.
where the tea is sold and it can be mailed to you and you can enjoy it. If you don't know to look for it, you're not going to know. But to have a place in town like Tivana used to be, and I believe Tivana was sort of run out of town by Starbucks, if I know the story right. That's the story I keep hearing. I haven't researched it at all, but basically,
Cowboys, Indians, they all got their perspectives. So
right,
it could
right,
be either
right.
way.
But it was a very popular store, and those of you out there who remember Tivana, like Latida is doing the same thing right there and want to bring the loose leaf to my vision. I would say is to make this popular and to also make or help people realize the health benefits. One of my
Yeah.
customers told me today that her son told her, stop drinking embalming fluid. And he was
Oh,
referring to diet drinks, um, those aspartame, all the really bad chemicals that basically we just willingly just put into our bodies all day long because we want to save
yeah.
calories or we're in a hurry or whatever. So, you know, it's a kind of a little bit of a learning curve, but the enjoyment, the pleasure,
Yep.
the relaxation you get from a truly fresh cup of tea or glass of tea, because this can be hot or cold. A lot of people come in and say, well, I like my tea cold. I don't, you know, we can't, these teas could do anything, cold, hot, mixed together, milk, no milk, honey, you name it. So it's
Yeah.
just infinite variety, which is the other big difference with coffee. Coffee has a
It's a cool thing. Well,
pretty
let's
distinct,
leave coffee alone for a little while. Yeah, I
yeah,
like the vision on tea and what you're
for
going
sure,
there
for sure.
with, and I don't drink coffee either, but to respect people's variety of choice, I think that's what's cool about this is you're giving people more options, and your focus is on these healthy options too that also happen to taste really good. So I'm excited for them to be able to try that. And
Well,
I
and
want to
the
dive into.
types
Go ahead.
of the types of health benefits are just amazing. Like there's a rooibos tea that a lot of people haven't heard of. It's from South Africa. It has amazing anti-inflammatory properties. So a lot of the ailments and aches and pains that we deal with are always about inflammation. So this tea is naturally caffeine free. So you can drink it at night and it just seeps into your body all night long, relieving all that inflammation and other irritants. So it's just incredible, the different health benefits, because tea was like the original medicine, thousands of years ago. So
yeah, for a lot of cultures, absolutely. And we're going to dive into a question driven towards helping the other visionaries who are listening in. The other vision pros who want to build their businesses as well. One of the questions we ask leaders that come on the show is, what's the worst leadership experience you've ever had?
Well, I was an assistant principal for about 20 years. So there's like, which experience do I choose? That's a tough spot to be in, because you have to, you have to balance the need to be a friend to the students and a resource and a guide, and also a disciplinarian. So sometimes they don't want to hear what you have to say, or they've gotten themselves into a position that you now have to deal with, and you're the face of the consequence. So I can't even tell you how many there's a lot of them. I think though that in taking all that I've learned from those years in administration is, to keep it positive. Everything, even when we mess up, it's a learning experience. Even when things don't go the right way or the way we want them to, we're going to go on, we're going to persevere, we're going to learn from this. We're not going to make the same mistakes twice. So that, and then every day, as a new business owner, that's my lesson every 20 seconds. Oh, I don't want to do that again. So I got my first text blast this morning, and I scheduled it for 8 a.m. So guess how many people unsubscribed when I woke them up?
Yeah. That is one more reason for them to be.
Please come back. Please come back.
Yeah. And people are going to be upset no matter what we do. We'll find some, you can't please everybody. At the same time, there are certain lessons, you're right, that say, oh man, I probably could have, probably could have lost less people in the process of that timing. So well said. Thank you for acknowledging that. We make mistakes as visionaries.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The other thing too is, if you're a visionary, you can't do it alone. So you have to have a team, and to keep your team where you want them to be is a lot of positivity, a lot of encouragement, a lot of grace. Because, a lot of us visionaries, I don't even know if I'd call myself a visionary, but a lot of people in my position, they're kind of, my way or the highway. I've got the best idea in the room, yada, 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 and you have to check that as much as you can, because you can't do it alone. You shouldn't try to do it alone. And you don't want to alienate yourself so that you have to do it alone, because if you drive all those people away that are willing to help you, you're going to find yourself in a very bad spot.
Yeah, that's true. I would agree with you. Most people don't consider themselves visionaries. It would be pretty dangerous to go around introducing yourself in a normal world. Hey, I'm a visionary. I think people would not understand the context of that. So there's definitely a unique subset of individuals who are attracted to the show and come towards it. And the idea of the visionary is somebody who's got a plan, right? A plan is a vision. And it's an opportunity to perhaps and a goal as well. You mentioned struggles earlier and goals related to the struggle. And yeah, if a goal doesn't have a struggle, it's not really a goal.
It's funny, because you asked the question, how did all this start? And so literally, if I think about it, it was all about oh, I want to take this to San Antonio and share this because everybody doesn't know about it.
That's a huge vision.
So it's my whole idea was just to share. And that's kind of I think what makes my situation, I didn't go into this to be let's be an entrepreneur. I didn't even realize that I had to be an entrepreneur to do this. So, I'm not in it for the money. I don't care about money. If you're in education for 20 years, you learn to live within your means, and I'm perfectly happy. So, it's not about that. It's about really genuinely sharing and helping people, because people need help. We've got the highest levels of diabetes. diabetes related
Yeah.
illnesses, all that
I'd like
stuff.
to ask you on the positive side of leadership. Let's flip to the opposite end. What has been your best leadership experience ever?
And again, I would say it's all about team, because when was so lucky, I was at Clark High School and Tybee High School with the most amazing people. And if I would try to list them all by name, but I'd leave somebody out. But they're all people that whose names you would probably recognize, because they're so well known in education, because they just give, give, give. So the experience I had was just being around those people, emulating them, learning from them, understanding how to give grace, to give space, to give, give, give. I mean, that's all you do in education. You're just constantly pouring yourself out. And when you have those excellent role models,
Yeah.
and you have a team where everyone has the same goal and everybody is focused on the same goal and they're in it to win it, and nobody gets tired, because we're all just going to go, go, go till 11:30 at night when the football game's finally over. It's a lot. And my shout outs always to the educators and the administrators and the teachers, because that's where I learned everything. And it's just a way of life that says other people are more important than I am.
You know, I love that you give the shout out to Clark High School. I grew up in Oak Meadow, which is right there on Northwest Military and Heavener. You're probably very familiar.
Yeah,
And we were
yeah.
just outside of the North Side School District, but the North Side School District and the Northeast School District, as a public school product, myself, like, were amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible teachers, absolutely incredible experiences. A lot of my friends have gone on to do absolutely incredible things in the world. And from what I understand, it's not super common in the public space, but you're right. The team, when a team comes together and a team's able to work together, it just makes the process enjoyable, and learning's far easier when people are enjoying what they're doing. So if this was your last chance to give a powerful lesson with the world of visionaries, people who want to pursue their dreams, people who want to do something big, what's the powerful lesson that they can learn from your experience?
Well, I mean, I think honestly, if you want to do something, you have to make sure you have the right why. Like, what is your why? And that's pretty common these days, especially in education. We always have to ask ourselves, what's our why? Why are we doing this? And then that why absolutely has to be about, in education, it's about the students. In business, in my mind these days, it's got to be about your customers and the people that you're trying to serve. So it's, if you're like, oh, I want to make a bunch of money, let's do it. It's not really about that, and it's probably not going to go too well. And it's not going to be very fun, because if
You know
you're not,
what's worse though, is when it does go really well and then they find themselves 20, 30, 40 years later, very empty.
yeah,
That's what I really feel bad for, is the ones who pursue the cash as the means, I'm doing this for that, and they
hmm,
don't find their depth.
right.
It's really sad to see that. So it can work, but I love the depth that you're talking about. In fact, you got a great testimonial that just came in, and I'd like to highlight that. And that'd be Christian Gutierrez, who says, "What sets La Tita apart from all the other tea shops in San Antonio is Leah. The knowledge, the passion, dedication that she brings to the community is second to none. The Sunday tea tasting is definitely a unique, fun, and calming experience."
Oh, thank you,
I
Christian.
love that. I mean, what better way to say, like, he knows your why? Like, he feels that why as as a patron of your establishment. That's cool.
Yeah, every Sunday we do a absolutely free tea tasting, 2 o'clock. Bring your whole family if you want. Everybody gets a cute little teacup, and it's super, super fun. And you get to try. Always try 5 different teas. So if you've never tasted an oolong, you've never tasted an herbal, it kind of gives you a chance to explore that and get familiar with the teas. So it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I want to come back to the establishment and more about the experience of working with or attracting people who may be unfamiliar with tea, and may not know that, one, some of us, like, I grew up thinking tea was nasty, and I
Yeah.
also came up from a religion standpoint where we were blanket taught tea and coffee, like never touch. And then I started learning later about herbal teas and how beneficial they are. Thanks to my stepdad, he started to introduce me to herbal teas and said, no, this is actually good for you and healthy. And so I started to understand that there was a place for it, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And so one of the challenges I think that your business faces, that sushi places often face as well, is how do I educate people to feel comfortable
Oh
with
my gosh, I totally
the
remember.
experience? What's that?
Yeah, I totally remember, like, again, in the 80s, nobody had ever heard of sushi. I thought it was the most disgusting thing I have ever heard. How can people sit there and eat raw fish? Oh my gosh, what are they thinking? That's so bizarre. Now, what's my favorite food?
Yep,
Sushi.
sushi. That's
I
right.
mean, seriously, like it's crazy how delicious sushi is and how good for you. And so it's just ignorance, you know.
So what's
Ignorance
the
is,
experience like when we go into your tea shop? What can we anticipate experiencing?
well, and I think you're right. So, you know, people will say, I don't like tea. And most of the time it's because tea does have one very important requirement, and that is do not oversteep your tea. So people think, oh, I'll just leave it in there a little longer. It'll taste so much better. It'll be stronger. The longer, the better. Yeah, so that's wrong.
It's like
um,
overcooking a steak, right?
yeah, exactly. And so a lot of teas. So, okay, this is a lot, but black teas, green teas, oolong teas, white teas, those are actual teas. So they have actual tea leaves from the very same bush, the very same tree. And it's just a matter of how they're processed. Are they dry? Do they have water in their process? Are they rolled? Are they flat? Are they outside? Are they inside? There's a whole, every distinct type of tea has a different way it's processed. So herbals, rooibos, and wellness teas have no tea leaves in them. Okay, so the only reason they're called tea is because they're steeped, and that's pretty much the definition. So having said all of that, you do want to be very careful with the ones that are actual tea leaves because you can ruin them. They taste awful. I mean, literally in a matter of seconds, they'll go from beautiful, floral, blooming, lovely flavor to the bitterest, nastiest, most tangy, metallic taste you've ever had. So that's important. And so that's why every time we do a tea tasting, I educate everybody on all that and try to help them understand how to avoid bad tea, because there really is no such thing as bad tea. I mean, you can be allergic to something, but we can pretty much put any of our two teas together and they always taste amazing. We came up with one the other day, jasmine pearl with a white Earl Grey. It's amazing. Like it is
That's
so,
awesome.
so good. And those teas must steep for 2.5 minutes only. Only 2.5 minutes. So if you've been steeping your tea for 10 minutes, no, it's quick and beautiful and fast and fresh.
Love
And
that.
that's going to be good.
San Antonians, Texans, and people throughout the world. You got to give La Tida a shot. You got to come to San Antonio. You got to try it out when you're in town. It's actually in a fantastic area of town too, on the north side of San Antonio. We're out of 1604, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, we're
And
right there in kind of like smack dab in the middle of Stone Oak. So it
yes,
might be a little bit of a haul, but I have
no,
recently,
it's beautiful.
yeah, I've recently set up an entire website, all online shopping. And the great thing about La Tida is that even if you're in Wisconsin, we can get on the phone. We can talk to you about what ails you. We can talk to you about what you
Oh,
love, what
nice.
you don't love, and we can help you choose the tea that's right for you, and we'll ship it right to you.
That's
And
amazing.
it'll arrive on your front step, and you can enjoy it as long as you want.
That's fantastic. So there's the e-commerce side of the business as well that I was actually unaware of. So I'm excited for that because yeah, everybody who's listening in now can have an opportunity for that. So
If you're in
the
the South Side and you don't want to walk, drive all the way over here through all the traffic and the closed highways and all that good stuff, then same thing. We'll
yeah,
just mail it straight to you, and you won't have to venture out until you're ready.
That's awesome. And I bet this makes a fantastic gift as well. Valentine's is coming up. You might be able to get a rush order in for that for somebody who likes to try new experiences. If they like try new foods, like try new drinks, then this would be an amazing opportunity to help expand their palate. Leah, I would like to ask before we wrap up, for other visionaries as well that are listening in, what are some of the greatest lessons and challenges and victories? It can be any one of those three that you've learned about business ownership as you've run this establishment, because so many people go in and don't know what's ahead of them on that path. And I don't necessarily want to scare people, but I do want people to be aware of the paths that are kind of already carved out, or the paths that we need to say, no, don't go down this path. That happens a lot in business. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, gosh, where to begin? So I was originally a franchise, and the franchise had a lot of tight controls over,
Regulations, restrictions.
yeah, type of what I could do for marketing. A lot of their stores are in small towns. They do a great job, just word of mouth. Everybody loves it. Like in Kerrville, everybody knew about Nobility. Everybody told everybody about Nobility, and it was just, amazing. So when I got to San Antonio in a large market, that does not work at all. So the big lesson, this is it. This is a big lesson I would say is partnership, partnership, partnership. I did not start networking right out the gate. I didn't know anything about networking. You don't network in education. Okay. There's no networking in education. You just, everybody just shares, and you get online and you share with people all over the world, and everything is just all about sharing and making things better. But in business, it's a little bit different. So once I started networking though, I realized that just like in education, everybody just wants to share. They want you to be successful. They want to figure out how you can help each other. And so, for example, you just said Valentine's Day. I have a lovely little pop-up coming up on Saturday afternoon from 4 to 7. We've got all female vendors and artisans. They're going to be selling their stuff. They're going to be bringing in their people. I'm going to be bringing in people for them. And we're just going to showcase fabulous gifts, homemade, complete, one of a kind, unique. You can't get anywhere else. And that's the kind of partnership. And these ladies just came in. Everyone I've met, everyone I've talked to, San Antonio Networking Group, Working Moms of San Antonio, NABO, National Association of Women Business Owners. I have met so many wonderful, wonderful people. And BNI, they just all come together, and they gather around you and they say, let's do it. I just met today with 2 fundraisers. They want to do a leukemia and lymphoma fundraiser. So we're going to be doing that coming up in a few weeks. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be putting some challenges out there, getting people revved up about raising money for cancer research. So it's just, the possibilities are endless, but you have to get out there. It's not going to come into your little shop. You'll be sitting by yourself staring at an empty room until you finally lose your lease. So, yeah, that's my nugget. It's network, partner, support, and keep it positive. Like, and every beautiful networking event I've gone to has said the same thing. It's like, you have to give before you get. And so that's the lesson right there, I think.
I love that. And there's, I heard the 2 lessons. One was that in small towns, the game's different. Right. And we started this conversation. We were talking about marketers, and I said something that could be seen as very, very rude, which is 99% of marketers don't know what they're doing. I would say the other thing that you learned in the process was to listen to your market. And that's the challenge I see with most marketers. They want to tell you how to do things or what to do. But in marketing, much like being a doctor, if we don't take an analysis of where the person's at, what's going on with the market, what the market research is telling us about today versus yesterday, and this demographic versus that demographic, then it doesn't matter how much we talk about how great we are. At the end of the day, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you don't care about the people you're serving, you're not going to figure out the challenges and how to solve them. So I would say those 2 factors, partnerships, that applies on the global and national level as well. it also very much applies to the local business factors of what we do. And Leah, I love how well you've emulated listening to your customers. I'll pull one more up here because we had one other comment from, was it Ruby? And it got buried in here. Here we are, Ruby Diaz. Can't wait to stop by for tea on Sunday. So you got somebody coming in, and we will
Awesome.
we look forward to seeing your success following along as you continue to grow the business. Vision pros, those who are listening in, if you have a vision that you'd like to share, in the top right corner of the page, there will be a button that says "Be Our Guest." We would love to hear your wholesome visions, what you're trying to bring to the world. You don't have to be Bill Gates or Michael Jordan, but if you're listening, Mike, you're welcome to come on the show too. And the rest of you, if
You
you
can
have
follow me.
questions, feel free to yeah, exactly. MJ, you can follow Latida as well. Exactly. And the rest of you, we'll have all of the links that are pertinent for Latida as well in the landing page on the show notes. You can catch those there. And Leah, we appreciate you being here today. This was awesome.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I really appreciate you too, Jackson.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time